Hello everybody, this is Zaxter99. Want to kind of go ahead and give you guys a heads up of what I'm doing here. For a long time I've always thought, during one of these game playthroughs or something like that I do, I can kind of connect with you guys and talk about me and my thoughts and my life and my kids and how I think and stuff like that. But it really never seems to happen. These games are too advanced nowadays. There's always something going on or something I'm trying to figure out. So this is just going to be me just kind of talking and trying to make you guys laugh a little bit, kind of entertain you guys, and see how I do at it. Now, I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave this raw and edited. Normally, something like this, I'd go in and put in like pre-recorded laughter and stuff like that, any humorous jokes I say or whatever. But I'm just going to leave all that out. I'm just going to leave it pretty raw and edited. And if there's laughs, hopefully it'll be you laughing and enjoying this. You'll have to be sure you let me know down in the comments down below. Rate this video if you like it. But I'm going to go ahead and start right after this. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hello, welcome everybody. This is Zaxter99. Just want to go ahead and talk about a few things here. My wife, my kid, we love The Walking Dead. And, a few days ago we were sitting there watching some old Walking Deads and these zombies in the show. I mean, they're on their sixth season now. And it's like, how can these zombies be scary to anybody at this point? It's like they're so damn stupid, We're watching a show where they get the spiked fences and everything like that, and they're just simply walking behind these spiked fences, and the zombies are like, Rah! And they come, instead of, looking to go around the spiked fences, they just go right into the spiked fences and spike themselves. Spikes go right through the middle of the zombie's guts, and the zombie can't get off. Zombie's laying there going to be dead. It's like, come on. How can something that damn dumb be scary after 6 seasons? All these zombie movies and all these zombie games, it's all the same thing. It's just like zombies are like, completely brainless. Maybe that's why they say brains, right? Brains. I need brains because they ain't got none. I'm ready for something scarier, like Advanced Zombies 101 or something. I want to see just once. I want to watch a movie and see zombies coming after some dude like Rick in The Walking Dead. Some little skinny bastard who has been starved basically for 6 seasons now. That dude ain't got nothing. That's like dude's a skeleton, man. He's like thin. He wouldn't feed me for 20 minutes. How the hell is he going to feed a horde of zombies? I'm ready for zombies to be looking at him and be like smart enough to realize, you know what, dude? You ain't worth the effort. Screw you. I'm ready to watch a zombie like turn his back on somebody like Rick and go in the house and make himself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is worth it. I don't know, man. If it was like the end of times and the apocalypse happened and there were zombies and everything like that, it'd be time for some advanced intelligence myself. While everybody else is over at the Walmart fighting over a freaking box of Twinkies and shooting each other for, Snickers bars, I'm not going to be anywhere near that damn Walmart in the apocalypse. Hell no, I'll be at my Zamzo's, which is like a plant store, where they have gardening and stuff like that, all the chemicals like that. No, what I'm looking for is plants and seeds and crops and stuff like that. I'm looking for, tomato plants and onions and potatoes and stuff like that. And I'm headed the hell away from town. I'm headed out like 20 miles away out in the middle of nowhere. Find me a little place to, plant my crops and have enough food and everything like that. Maybe out by a lake so I have some water. But sticking around town like all these people doing these movies and TV shows, hell no. Be time for some, advanced AI myself if I was stuck in a zombie apocalypse. I don't get it. It's always the same thing. It's like, come on, let's get something new. Speaking about the end of times, though, I mean, if you were an apocalypse like that, you didn't have everything we have nowadays, computers and games and electricity and internet and not even have a damn PSP or nothing, no TV. What the hell would you do? I'd get boring real fast, wouldn't it? Sit around with anybody you're surviving with, just staring at each other all day? Hey, you got a booger on your nose, man. I mean, seriously, what would your entertainment be? Maybe there's only so many times that you can play, tic-tac-toe in the dirt with sticks before that shit got old. It's like, come on. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, watch ants crawl around in the dirt, be entertained by that? Oh man, I think you'd be looking up in the sky and you'd be looking up at those clouds and wondering what's up past those clouds, and you'd start thinking about Christ and God and everything, you know? But it'd be hard to be religious and believe in God after you watched your own parents or your kids or whatever get torn to shreds by freaking zombies. That'd make it tough, wouldn't it? I don't know about religion, man. It's like I grew up and my mom, and growing up, I remember as a teenager, my mom always coming in every Sunday morning after I'd stayed up late on Saturday night every weekend. Come on, get up, let's go to church, let's go to church. Oh man, I hated that. Oh, I hated that. Let's go to church, come on. You need Christ in your life. Playing those video games. And I don't know, it's like they say Christ came down to earth and he walked with us and he died for our sins. So the way I see it, the way I've always seen it, is if God died for our sins, if he came down here and he really died for our sins, the last thing I want to do is take my ass to church and waste my weekends every Sunday going in church, learning and promising not to sin, to try to sin less. I know they say nobody's perfect, but no. If he died for our sins, I want to give him a good value for his money. I want to sin my ass off, make sure he got a good value for dying. It's like, it's like go to store or whatever and you give him $100. You don't just want to get a couple of tomatoes for your $100. Hell no, you want to get 1 billion tomatoes for your dollars. That way you're getting a better bang for your buck, a better value. Same kind of thing. So if Christ, he's already died for our sins. He's already given his life for our sins. So I want to give him a better bang for his buck. So I want to sin my ass off my whole life. That way, I'm making sure he gets a good value for his dying. I think you guys should think about that. Well, it's just one way of looking at it, right? Speaking of kids growing up, my son is a product of me for sure. He's just like me through and through. Loves the video games, lazy. A smart ass. He's got a mouth on him, I'm telling you. It's like now I look at my parents and I realize what they went through when they raised me, and I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm sorry about that time back in 1984. Remember, when I was a smart ass and I smart mouthed you when you told me to take out the trash? Yeah, Mom, I'm really sorry. Sorry I told you that. Worst I ever got it from my mom. Swear to God. I'm sitting there in the kitchen. My mom's telling me, go clean your room. I've been telling you all week, go clean your room or whatever. I'm like, I don't really feel like it, And she's like, listen. And I just kept smarting off to her. I don't remember exactly what I said. But finally, I pissed her off, and she's like, listen, you little son of a bitch. And at that time, I went for the biggest smart ass remark of all. I'm like, Mom, just looked at her. I'm like, why are you calling yourself a bitch? Whack! That was like the only time I ever got slapped from my mom. I remember that one too, though. It rattled my jaw for a minute or two, I'm telling you. Mom, why are you calling yourself a bitch? You little son of a bitch. Oh boy. Kids though, they're one thing we wouldn't trade for the world, right? Love our kids with all we are. I'm telling my kids, I'm telling my daughter now, I'm like, don't you even think about liking boys yet, because you ain't dating until you're at least 35. I told my oldest daughter that, who just got married, and I remember telling her that she couldn't date till she was 35, and now she just got married at 22. Beautiful. I have that video on my YouTube, by the way. It's beautiful. I'll put a link down to it down in the description. But nothing made me prouder than the man she married getting down and making vows to not only my daughter but to the baby embryo growing inside her belly. That was a pretty good tearjerker. It's like you need a little bit of comedy after stuff like that. I mean, it takes your heart, and it's like, wow, slaps the hell out of your heart, Life has a way of doing that to us. Kids, man. Growing up. I remember growing up. I used to be really shy, but about the time I started getting into girls, I was a little bit older. I'm not going to say how old, but let's just say this. I was 19 before I first got my first kiss. I was so damn shy in high school, I swear. I'd have girls hitting on me. I'd have girls sending me roses, and man, it embarrassed the hell out of me. I'd sneak them roses back out of the dumpster while nobody was watching and throw them away because I didn't want anybody knowing that a girl liked me. It just embarrassed me too bad. I changed a little bit after I got out of high school, though, and started building up a little confidence in myself, and then, hell, nothing embarrassed me. My friends and stuff like that, they'd be scared to go in the store and buy condoms to protect themselves, when they had sex. So it's like condoms, I never understood the fear of going in a store and buying condoms. All my friends were petrified of that. And even adults, they're like, I don't want to go buy the condoms or whatever. Or even guys, feminine hygiene products or whatever. What are guys scared about? You know what your wife needs. She'll tell you what she needs. She knows exactly what she needs. If she's, home bleeding to death or whatever, you need to take care of your woman. Same thing with a condom. If you're young, you don't want kids with a woman, go protect yourself. I never understood the fear of that. Either way, you go to the store, why are you embarrassed? Why are you trying to buy a bunch of crap in the store to try to hide what you're buying? It's crazy. Just go in there and get what you need and get out. It's like, what are you scared of buying condoms? Why are you embarrassed about? Hell, I pick the box of condoms up and raise it above everybody. I'm like, hey, everybody, look who's getting laid tonight. Looky here. Woohoo! Give me a high five, man. Same thing with feminine hygiene products. It's like, looky here. Yeah, I got a woman. You got a woman? Look, I got a woman. This is my proof right there. But I don't know. It's like, and then you grow up, and I don't know about you guys, but I remember when I used to be shy. I think I was like 18, 19 years old. And I was curious about things, I'd never done anything yet. And I still remember going and buying my first box of condoms. And there was a little fear there because I was still kind of shy. I still wasn't really, I was just starting to talk to the ladies and date around a little bit. So I was curious how condoms work because I had no idea, I kind of grew up a sheltered life and just playing video games and stuff like that. And my mom kind of babied me a little bit as I was growing up. So I had no idea how condoms worked. And we didn't have, back in the 80s, we didn't have YouTube and everything like we have nowadays. These kids today are advanced, I'm telling you. Man, they know more. My son, I bet you, knew more about sex when he was 5 than I knew when I was 18. I'm just saying. But yeah, I didn't know about that stuff. I had no idea how a condom worked. And I made sure that the first time that happened, first time I got it on with a girl, I wanted to be ready. So I went and I bought a box of condoms. All by myself, and I get that box of condoms out of the car, and I'm reading the directions. And really, how many directions are there for condoms? It's kind of like Pop-Tarts, right? Pop-Tarts have what directions? Take out a package, put in toaster, cook for a minute or whatever, and eat. It's like 3 steps or whatever. Take out a package, put in toaster, or put them in the microwave for 10 seconds, and enjoy. It's kind of the same thing with condoms, isn't it? It's like, carefully take out a package, and then it's like there's like really 2 steps. It's like after you get out of the package, which is a no-brainer, you have 2 steps. It's like you take it, you hold the tip, there's a little tip there, it looks like a little nipple, right? And that's full of air, so you have to hold that shut while you roll it on your unit, so you hold that air. You hold that shut, you squeeze it, the little nipple there at the end, so that no air gets inside as you roll it on. Kind of common sense, But that's really the only step. As long as you get there, you got it. And so, I knew how to use a condom ever before I ever even used one. I never had any problems, I'm just saying. But then, as you talk to your friends and stuff like that, growing up as a young teen or a teenager or in your 20s or whatever, you're talking to all these friends and people that you socialize with, whether it be at work or, college or whatever it is. And how many times have you guys heard this? Yeah, me and my bitch, we were dating and everything like that, but man, we had sex. We used the condom and everything, but she wound up pregnant. It's like we tried to use that condom. Every time we use that condom, I busted the thing, And it's like the same thing every time. It's like the guy is like acting like he's so enormous. His size is so huge that every time he tries to use a condom, he breaks it. And I'm like, every time I heard that after I read those 2 simple steps, I was born with, at least 3 brain cells. So I look at these guys and I'm like, you hear this all the time. And I'm like thinking, you dumbass. No, you're not so damn large, you busted it. I'm just saying, I could take a regular size condom out of the package, and I bet you I could stretch that damn thing. I'm 6'4", and I bet you I could stretch that condom all the way up my leg without breaking it. And I guarantee you, your thing is not bigger, thicker, and longer than my 6'4" frame leg. I'm just saying. No, those things will stretch a mile, though. How are these people breaking them? I'll tell you how. They're not following the simple 2 steps on the package. They're not holding the air in the tip when they roll it on. They get in too big of a rush. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They didn't read the 2 steps, and they trap air in that little tip. And then when they have intercourse, it's no surprise that it busts because there's air trapped in there, dummy. It's like, so there's you guys a little sex education there. I'm just saying. So next time you hear somebody bragging about their size and how they always break condoms, just call them a dumbass. Tell them, hey man, you got to have an IQ above 5 and you won't break it. I'm just saying. But anyway, speaking of condoms, I'm telling you, you women out there, you women have complained, way back in the day about, unequal rights, talking about, men in the workplace and everything, is all about the men and favor towards men. Well, I tell you what, whenever you ladies complained about that many years ago, you got this whole world completely switched around to where everything seems like it's catered to women nowadays. Nothing's catered to men. And the perfect example of that is condoms. You go in there and you look at condoms, and what do all the boxes say? Ribbed for her pleasure. Well, when I'm a guy and I'm looking for the condoms and I'm buying the things, I'm looking for ribbed for his pleasure. But they don't have anything like that. They don't have no ribbed for his pleasure condoms, now do they? I'm just saying. Well, I'm a pretty resourceful guy. So, nowadays, if you're a lady that I'm getting with, you better watch it because that light switch goes off and I open that condom. I'm flipping that thing inside out. I'm just saying. Before I roll that on, I'm going to make me a rib for his pleasure condom. Oh, crazy. These kids today, I'm telling you, they're nothing like what I was, like kids today when we were growing up in the 80s. I mean, it's changed so much. I mean, kids are a lot smarter about stuff, for one. They got the access of the internet and Google and everything that we didn't have, that I didn't have as a kid in the 80s. But while they're more advanced, it's like they've got that, that wisdom early. Probably too much wisdom way too early nowadays that I never had growing up. But they've lost something as well with all these video games and the access of the Google and the internet and everything like that. It's like kids today, they have no damn imagination. And I was a kid in the 80s, I used to just imagine and think up my own, like not video games. I used to think up my own games, my own rules for, kicking a soccer ball around out in the backyard. Or, we used to go around and pick berries off all the little shrubs and stuff like that in our yard, pretend those were berries and sit there and imagine we were trying to survive. That was our survival game. Me and my neighbor kids and my sisters, having little bowls of berries and stuff like that and acting like that was the food and we were starving and we were trying to survive, and nowadays kids playing survival games like Rust and all these games like that on the computer and Daisy and all that. It's like, man, if I would have had this kind of stuff when I was a kid, I would have been in heaven. I don't think I ever would have left the house. I can't really say that I blame them. And you don't see kids outside playing anymore either compared to what it used to be. You drive through these neighborhoods, and even in the summer and stuff, the spring, it's like you hardly ever see any kids. And if you do see them, they're walking on the sidewalk. They're probably walking over to their buddy's house to play their new video game or something. It's like, yeah. But kids today, they have no imagination. I remember when my son was like, I don't know, 6 or something like that. And he had a little toy pickup or whatever. And I still remember sitting there watching him play, and I tell him to play with his toys or whatever because, my wife and I are wanting to watch TV or something, and he wanted to play our PS3 at the time. And we're like, no, we're watching TV tonight, boy. You can play with your toys. And, I used to buy him all these toys that, as he grew up, I used to buy him all these toys that I loved as a kid. And I don't know how many little, those action figures and stuff like that, the ones with the bendable arms and bendable legs. I used to love those when I was a kid, but I wanted the ones that were cool, were the ones that had the bendable wrists and the head that turned, and, the bendable arms, the elbows, and the bendable legs and bendable feet and all that. Those are the good ones. So I've bought my son a lot of those growing up, Spider-Man and all kinds of action figures like that, the expensive ones. Hell, I remember my son liked The Walking Dead, when it first came out, like the first year or whatever. And we let him watch it, Hey, don't judge me now. But, he's always loved The Walking Dead. He's never been scared of it. It makes me feel like a little pansy for being scared of the Blob till I was like 9 years old. My son's watching The Walking Dead. It doesn't even faze him nowadays. But I remember I found him like Walking Dead action figures, like when Walking Dead was brand new, and I paid like $25 a piece for these things. And yeah, he's like never played with them. They're like buried in his toy box somewhere. And I don't think he's played with them 5 minutes his whole damn life. And so anyway, I was sitting there watching him. I was like, I told him that night, he's like 6 years old. I was like, go get your toys, bring them out here and play with them. And so I'm sitting there kind of watching him, to see what he does. And he's like driving this car around he's like, I ain't got no roads. It's just carpet. He's like looking at it like, and I'm like, son, you got to use your imagination. Pretend there's roads there, He looks at me with a stare like, Dad, what are you talking about? Like blank eyes, like, what? He thought I was the dumbest guy ever, I think. And so later I'm sitting there looking at him and everything like that, and he's trying to open this door on this truck because it had doors that opened and everything like that, but his action figure wouldn't sit in the truck because the truck was too small, so he's trying to get this guy into the truck, and he wouldn't go. And so my son's getting frustrated, and I'm like, son, you got to turn on your imagination again. You just got to pretend, and I said, give me that stuff. I was like, here you go. He's like, how do you do this, Dad? He gives me the action figure in the truck. I'm like, just like this. I'm like, you put the guy in the truck, you say he gets in the truck, and then you just pretend he's in there. And I hit the guy, and I was like, close the door. I'm like, now he's in there. And he's like, Dad, he's not in there. I'm like, son, no, he is. You just got to pretend that he is. You got to think that he is. And again, I just got that same look from him. I'm like, that same look like, Dad, you've lost your mind. Yeah. These kids today, I'm telling you, they just have no imagination. Bought my son Legos, and he kind of likes his Legos, but man, when I was a kid, I used to love Legos. Sit there and build everything in the world with them. Spent a lot of money on Legos as, my son grew up, and he's got a good collection of them now, but again, I think he's played with them maybe an hour his whole life, I don't know. These kids today they don't have the imagination that we used to back in the day. That's kind of funny. It reminds me, here I am, catch myself saying back in the day, and as a kid, I used to listen to my grandfather, and he's the same one that you made the BUGGY comics about. I'll be sure to link those down below as well, where I actually wrote a comic strip, kind of mocking my grandfather and my impressions of him as I was growing up as a kid. But my grandfather used to say all these things that I thought was just bizarre. He'd say, back when I was a kid and everything like that, and I used to think he was so crazy for always talking about his past when he was a kid, and how candy bars were a nickel and stuff like that. I'm like, why are you talking about that, Grandpa? I mean, candy bars they're not a nickel anymore. But here I am. My grandfather's passed away several years ago, and here I am finding myself just like my father and just like my grandfather and all these things that I promised myself I'd never do like them when I got older. Here I am walking right in their shoes. Candy bars today, what are you lucky to get one for like 89 cents, like two for $1.49 or something if you're lucky. I was just talking about that, I don't know, not that long ago to my kids. They had money and wanted to go buy candy, and I'm like, man, when I was a kid, and I do remember this, when I was a kid, I remember all the time walking to Albertsons, our grocery store that we lived by as a kid, and all the time they'd have candy bars. I mean, full-size one, not, little ones or anything like that. These full-size Snickers bars and Mars bars and Three Musketeers, all the good ones, M&Ms. They used to have those all the time, either 8 for $1, 10 for $1, or sometimes when they had a really big sale, you'd see them 12 for $1. And I know for a fact I remember that because I remember one time me and my buddy that I never saw, he kind of lived on the other side of town, and he came over one night to spend the night, and and we had a little bit of money. I think we each had $1 or something, or I had $2 and I gave him one of mine or something. And we walked there during one of the times they had either 10 or 12 for $1. And so we loaded up with like 20 candy bars, 10 each, and we tried to eat them all because, our parents, I think his parents were really strict and they didn't want him buying any candy or anything. So he wanted to make sure he got his whole $1's worth of candy and ate it before we went home. And man, all I remember is we were puking our guts out. We were both puking our guts out over in the canal before we went back to my house. We tried to eat all those things. I don't think we even ate half of them, but we made ourselves sicker than a damn dog. And have you ever seen chocolate puke? I'm just saying it's not a good sight, and it doesn't smell real good either. I still have those haunting memories. But yeah, I catch myself all the time just saying things and doing things, like my old grandfather and stuff. It's like my son, we have a PS4, we have two PS4s now, and the controllers for these things, well, they're pretty good. They're pretty solid built and everything. They're like $60 a piece or whatever. And my son, he's 10 years old now, and his buddy comes over and they drop him on the floor all the time. I don't know how they drop him so many times, but it's like every day I hear the controller drop on the ground. I'm like, son, you can't drop that thing. It's going to break. You're going to break it. Hold on to it. Sit down on the couch and quit trying to stand and stuff and play games. Sit on the couch. Oh, you don't drop it all the time. If you do drop it, it just lands on your lap. And he looks at me like, I don't know, one time a while back, he dropped one or whatever, and I got on to him for dropping the controller. I'm like, if you can't, hold on to the controller, then you don't need to be playing video games. And I was like, I don't have money to replace them things all the time. And he's already broke one of them, one of the PS4 controllers. And, but he looked at me, he's like, Dad, these things are built tough. And I give him that. They are built tough. They're built pretty solid. But I told him, I'm like, yeah, but you keep dropping it every day. I guarantee you one of these times something's going to come loose in there, and it's not going to work no more, And he kind of looked at me like I was being a hard ass, like I was being mean and stuff. And what that did is it really took my memory back to one time when I was a kid. I think I was like, God, I must have been 8 or 9 years old. Not much younger than my son. And my grandmother, who lived like down in Texas, a long ways away, and I hardly ever saw her, but she sent like the whole family a Christmas present. And it was like one of those little, radios or whatever that, picked up all the stations for AM and FM and, UFC and all these different bandwidths or whatever, one of those fancy little radios. And back in the 80s, those things were probably pretty expensive, but, I took it out of the box and I was just sitting there playing with it. We didn't have batteries for it or whatever yet. So, we really couldn't turn it on and play with it. And I'm impatient, I'm a kid, and I'm sitting there playing with all the buttons and fidgeting with it. And I take the antenna off, not the antenna off, but I take the antenna and, unclip it so it's up in the air. And I'm sitting there twirling it around, because it rotates. It's a rotating, antenna so that you can point it whatever direction you want. And so I'm sitting there just spinning that antenna around and around and around, And my dad looks at me and he's like, son, what are you trying to do? You're just sitting there trying to destroy it. Why are you sitting there trying to break the radio? And I still remember, as an 8-year-old kid, thinking my dad was just being the biggest jerk. I'm like, and I remember responding to my dad. I was like, Dad, it's made to do this. What are you talking about? It's made to do this. See? They make it so you can do that. And my dad's like, yeah, they make it so you can do that. They make it so you can point it everywhere. But if you just sit there and do that over and over and over again, you're going to break it. And I still remember I didn't get it. I was a pretty smart kid. I was 8 years old, but I thought he was just being a dick. I was like, get off my ass, Dad. I remember having those thoughts like that. And my dad was absolutely right. It's like when you're a kid, you think your parents are on to you for stuff. You think your parents are getting on to you for no reason, just to be mean. They say things to you or whatever, and you think, man, why are you doing this to me? Did you have a bad day at work? Whatever, you're being mean to me. But your parents are right, and you don't realize it until you grow up, until you see some of the world, and until you understand, that your parents, man, they might have seemed mean at the time, or if you're a kid, your parents may seem mean a lot of times when they tell you stuff, but they're speaking on experience. They know what they're talking about. So, and you don't understand that until you get older. But Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead, guys, ladies, who have been watching, be sure you rate this. Let me know what you think. First time I've ever tried to do anything like this. Like I say, you know, I play these video games and stuff like that, and I've always had it kind of in the back of my mind that I kind of wanted to talk to my viewers and talk about some of these things and some of these things in my past and my thoughts and stuff like that. But when I'm playing a video game, it's always, you know, I'm too busy trying to understand the controls or figure out the game or whatever, and I never really get an opportunity to connect with my viewers, you guys out there listening to me. So I really wanted to make some kind of video to kind of hopefully make you laugh a little bit, make you smile, kind of connect with you guys on my thoughts and, you know, how I feel about life and kids growing up, and just kind of make a few, you know, wisecracks and stuff like that, and hopefully I've entertained you guys and made you guys laugh. Anyway, whatever it is, if this sucks or whatever, this video has bored you to death, let me know down in the comments below. Be sure you rate my video if you did enjoy this. Be sure you give me a thumbs up. Just takes a second, guys, and that really helps me out as well. I want to go ahead and thank you guys for watching. I want to go ahead and thank you guys for viewing me. And, you know, if you want to see more of this kind of video, be sure you put that down in the comments down below. Whatever it is, let me know. I want to go ahead and thank you guys for watching. This has been Zaxter99, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.